Welcome back to the hood. Thumbnail. Is the thumbnail the same? Probably not. Maybe not. We'll see what happens. If it's changed. New thumbnails. You know, I made it myself. I'm going to have to link so many links in the description. Straight for the art specifically. But that's besides the point. New thumbnail. Come on now. Say it with your chest. Y'all proud of me. Anyway, also, let me see what happened last. I don't know if y'all recognized it, right? I don't know if it was just a me thing because I was doing editing the video and all that, right? I had recorded everything that happened with Izuku after he got back from his walk. You know, just a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna tell you what happened, right? Because I'm changing it, but that's besides the point. I had him like run down on Krystal parents with like a small group of people. Like it was gonna be normal, like in and out, like just the smart thing to do. And then I realized this isn't what Izuku would do. So I deleted it, right? I had it in my feeling. I was like, dang, you know, like I just don't feel like this is what he would do in this situation. He over here moving silent, like, and obviously my boy gonna need times where he gotta move silent, but not right now, right? Maybe, who knows? So I deleted it. We're gonna have to start right there in this episode. I'm gonna tell you what I think he would actually do. But before we get there, I'm also gonna change how I'm telling the story a little bit, right? It's gonna be pretty much the same, like on my end, but we doing a little bit of a perspective shift after this part of the story, right? Like we not, you'll see what I'm talking about later, but you know, just know that, you know, the only reason why it's happening like this is because we need to progress through the story. I ain't trying to have the other series that I'm making beyond the end of the series of My Hero Academia, and this is just at the end of season 2. That's just not what I'm personally about personally. So, you know, bear with me real quick. You feel me? Bear with me. Bear with your brother. I always wanted a brother. Anyway, all right. So, you know, from what I was talking about last time, Izuku and Krystal are talking about, you know, how spinning back, right? Spinning back on her parents, trying to get some information that she needs to move on and everything else, right? And you know, Izuku and Krystal are talking about it, you know, early. Wait, it's not early in the morning. It's about to be night. That's what it was. You know, they talking about it. You know, it's about to be night and everything, right? And you know, this is a time where like Krystal would normally be like, you know, this is a time of the story where it's like, you know, please save me or some shit, like you know, just on some, you feel me, just on some timing. But this is what if Izuku was a villain. So while she is pouring her heart out to Izuku about, about being replaced possibly, or you know, even just being put up for adoption and all this other stuff, right? Zuko's like, yeah, man, this world, I go outside every day and I see more and more selfishness. And to be 100 right now, I think your parents might be the most selfish people that I've seen yet. So to get rid of their firstborn child, all because of a quirk? I know how this world works. I see it every day. But to be so self-centered, so closed-minded, so childish, for the love to not even be presentable. They couldn't even pretend to love you. Which is why I think you should go make it very clear what they missed when they threw you away. And Krystal, obviously, you know, she mentally aware, right? At least at this point in time, she's not emotionally distraught like she was before, right? So she knows that Izuku's on some using tactics a little bit, kind of, right? But at the same time, she also looking at him and can tell like he really do believe that she should go get them for this. Like he really, like looking at her face, is set on like they're not escaping him, and she's starting to like understand like what ticks him, like what's the ticking point for him, because he like all villains, he got ticking points, he got things that just presses buttons. She realizing this might be one of them, so she agree, right? She's like, okay, it's I'll like a resolve in her heart, like, okay, let's go tonight. We don't we they don't deserve the time because the leader said that they didn't deserve the time, basically, right? But that's besides the point. And Izuku, when she like, okay, let's go get him, he looking back to the crowd, right? I mean, obviously, it's not nighttime, like it's you know nobody's going to sleep at this point in time, like obviously it's just it's just getting dark. So he looking around, he like, y'all heard that? Obviously nobody was really listening for real, but they turn around, they try to pay attention to him, and Zuku turned back to him like, one of your peers has been hurt in indescribable amount. Y'all know Krystal? Y'all know what Krystal been up to? Y'all know who hurt Krystal? Are y'all gonna let Krystal go out there and fight by herself? And everybody else looking around, they like, oh, what's going on? Blah blah blah, this and the third. And my boy Zuki like, we know where her parents is at. We know where they stay. Y'all been over here moping around all day because we quote unquote lost. Ain't nothing lost. Ain't nobody lose. The plan ain't changed. Who want to go get them? After he says that, like, it's like buzz around, like, everybody talking, murmuring about like, what to do or who to send and where they even at, about a whole bunch of just murmurs, right? They just murmuring, they just talking, and to shut the murmurs up. We got Madison. We got Madison. She take charge. She start on some like queen activities. Everybody gotta like look at her and pay attention. And she on some like, hey, ain't no need to have doubt. Y'all seen what Izuku has done for us these past couple months? What y'all afraid of? Who's joining? Everybody ready. Or at least everybody that's in the 40% of people that Izuku already like got control of over the. You feel me? Either way, really, it's growing though. More people showing up because the more successes you have in this villainy, the more people like, okay, maybe I can get away with some stuff too. So a little bit more people showing up, and even then, he also appealing to their natures, they mentalities, their emotions, because he brought up Krystal being hurt by her parents for being sold into adoption, almost trafficked. So even more people grow. Like, yeah, let's go get them, this, that, and that, blah, blah, right? Only question they got is, who going? Let me go, blah. That's all he hearing. Izuku, you know, he looking Madison, shush them all. They all get silent again. He's like, I need everybody to go put their outfit on. Go put the uniform on. We all going. Everybody. All of them. We got enough cars for that? What's going on, right? Obviously, if you've been training like you were supposed to be training, then you wouldn't have no problems, right? But even if we gotta walk there, it's not gonna be a problem. You feel like even if they gotta walk there, they gonna start it off when they all get there. You feel me? Which is what he's talking about, right? He's like, that's how he let it be known, right? Like, yeah, if we ain't got enough cars, walk to the location. We'll send it to you. We got the group chat. You feel me? If you ain't if you got some more stamina, you got some energy, like you can hop on the roofs, right? Obviously, if you walking, right, don't make sure you got the mask and everything on, right? But if you in the car, you ain't gotta wear it until like we get to the location. But that's besides the point. You go on a little side quest, right? Trying to rob a store or something before we get to the spot. I mean, sure, just don't get caught, because we all out here trying to do the main quest. You feel me? But yeah, that's how you explain it to him. And just like that, everybody get that location, and they off. It's night. Well, the you know, sun's going down, so the moon, and then night, it's coming up. But it's getting there. It's getting dark, and everybody getting to the location, right? My boy Izuku driving in the car. Well, he really got Kai driving. Can Kai drive? He really got Amelia driving, but that's besides. Can Kai drive? Probably not. But yeah, you got Amelia driving, right? There's other people following. Obviously, right? The hero patrols is up. You feel me? The patrols is up. So, if anybody is walking or with somebody that's on the rooftops or something, right? They go into the back alleys. They trying to stay out of sight, and out of mind, right? You know, and if there was a problem, that's what they got the teleporting brothers for. There's two people. They can be at two different places at the same time. You feel me? Just send a picture of your spot. That's where the portal will show up, right? Then the other one could just teleport there. Off real. He can imagine it. He'll be there. And after a couple hours, Zuku is walking, all on the street, right? He got the hood on. He ain't got the outfit on and nothing. It was waiting for everybody at the time, so he just took another walk, right? Bumped into a man. Man's like, silly boy, you gotta move out the way when you see me approaching. And he continues about his day on some just disrespect, right? Izuku, continues walking. Obviously, he gets the text that everybody's ready. He walk into the back alley. Whole just squadron of individuals, right? It's got to be at least 68 people here. And they waiting on him, right? They all in the fit. They all fitted out. They all ready. Izuku turned to Aiden, asking him, "Are we ready yet?" Aiden, who's hacked into the security system, he's like, "The dad just got home. I've been watching them through the security in their house. They're getting comfortable." And the dad is the dude that bumped into Izuku, who was walking on the street. Mainly just because I said so, but also because Izuku was like, "Yeah, I just bumped into him. Let's make sure we don't miss this time." That's what he owned. Everybody like, right, they ready. You feel me? It's like a collective right that happens, and they start off the plan. There's a whole lot of people here with a whole bunch of quirks, right? So a lot of them, how do I say this? They raid that fucking house. Like they fucking break through all the walls, my nigga. Like it's motherfuckers falling from the sky or from the teleporting portals and shit. We got people out here busting through the windows, breaking through the doors. They running down the motherfucking house. Like if you ever listen to any rap song, period, about any of it, right? Just about any violence, my nigga. They running up in niggas' houses. That's what it is at the end of the day. It's just, nigga, everybody's screaming in the house. It's only like they son and their daughter and the two parents. But it's violent though. Obviously Krystal up there, she done you feel me? She done busted in. She knocking the fuck off her parents. I mean, to left right combos, 1-2 good nights. Niggas hitting the flow and shit. They tipping tables, moving furniture. It's getting bad. All right, it was 68 people outside. They all inside now. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them, right? It's like 65 of them, maybe, right? You know, people that wouldn't have been there would have been like, I don't know, Izuku, you know, Aiden, probably Madison too, but everybody else would have ran inside, and you know they would have been on that violent activity, right? We got Amelia out here, she wrecking the whole field. She done got the, you know, she done you know, cause she got that alchemy shit. You know, she basically based off Elric, Edward, the Elric brother. That's who she based off of. Anyway, uh, you know, she got the goddamn, you know, she's just setting everything up, bro, like from the creation side of things, right? They done drag down the kids from upstairs and shit, and like, you know, just these motherfuckers like what, 12, maybe 10, 10, 11, 12, something around there. And then, you know, my boy Kai looking outside, right? He see Zuku slowly walking up the steps and stuff, trying to, you feel me, you know, just aura farming. If I'm being 100, that's what he doing, right? It's aura all around, right? He came in, you know, wearing the same fit as everybody else, but he just got a different kind of aura about him, right? He walking up with a baddie to his side, right? Obviously, she's also in costume, but that's got nothing to do with how fine she is. Obviously, if anybody was looking, you'd be able to tell that this is a girl as well. I mean, the outfits look slightly different, but that's besides the point. Or farming, right? You know, Kai out here, you know, that's right hand man, left hand man. One of them, I forgot which one I said. Either way, he tell everybody to calm down. You know, he hit the signal, right? Hit the whistle. I personally can't whistle, so you know, you're just gonna have to imagine how that happened. But you know, he hit the whistle. Everybody who was, you know, running up in the house, right, throwing paintings, flipping tables, breaking dishes, you know, instantaneously when they heard the whistle, everybody stops instantaneously. The two people that had the kids, they still, you know, holding the kids, but they ain't moving no more. Even Krystal, right, who was punching the fuck out of her parents, right? They don't know this is Krystal, but even Krystal stands up and just stands over them, just standing over them, right? Just like like everybody else is like kind of like to the side, like looking at like a wall or whatever, right? Like not at a wall, but you know, they up against the wall looking at the other side of the room or whatever, right? Krystal, it's an anger in her heart, man. She just can't get over this. Uh, Izuku walk in, calm. This isn't his parents. He ain't got no reason to be mad. He just here trying to make sure everybody else in this motherfucker get corrupted. uh, and like I said, right, he just got this aura flowing, bruh. He got the aura flowing. Even the kids looking at him like, oh my gosh, that must be the leader. I'm about to die. You know, they crying. The parents out there, what's happening? Who are you people? Oh my gosh, what did we ever do to deserve this? You feel me? And you know, obviously, Izuku walk in, right, and you know, just to continue the aura farming, as Madison also walks in, but just stops at the door. You know, she gonna let Izuku do what he do. You feel me? No, he walks in, you know, he's like, family and familial love are all very precious things. The way you raise a child, as he crouches down and looks at both of the kids, covering their eyes because they don't want to see him. They don't know what he got going on. He continues on, and it's like, it's the way you shape them for the rest of their life. And you know, as he reaches out to one of the kids, you know, the father is like, don't you dare touch my child. Raising his voice. Kai goes over there, kicks him in his face, then he stands over him, just like Krystal. You know, Izuku stands and he removes his mask. He looks at the kids and smiles a little bit, right? Very confused children. All right, they don't know what's going on. They got zero clues about it. They can only assume death. They ain't got it going on right now, right? he walks over to where Krystal and Kai are now, and while the father is, recovering, from the broken nose that he got, he allows Krystal to take off her mask. And, Krystal, you feel me? Show her face to him, right? Very, black and white hair ish. Her eye color is black and white. It's like Machiavelli's, but instead of yellow and red, it's black and white. Just a hypnotic trance that you can get into just off rip. And seeing her, right? They look away because they know what happened. They recognized her. They knew what the fuck it was. They don't want to be put under a trance. That's really what it is. And seeing them look away from her like that, she get even more mad, right? But before she moved, she looked at Izuku, and Izuku allowed her to have full reins of that shit, right? She starts stomping on him, kicking him, punching him, and it's like all the aggression is coming out at once, and she's crying, she's screaming, all kinds of. It's like, why did you abandon me? Why didn't you take care of me? Why couldn't you love me? You feel me? Why are you looking away from me? A whole lot of just violence. And the father, the mother speaks up first. And it's like, we always loved you, but we didn't know how to take care of you. Krystal ain't hearing that shit. And Izuku puts a hand on her shoulder. And, just a reminder why we here, right? It's not just so that she can get revenge, even though this is one of the main reasons. But it's also to get her some answers. So she stands up, put the goggle things back on her eyes so that she isn't hypnotizing them, even on accident. And she asks her questions, right? And, basically just the questions I asked before, but she said more calm, right? She, she want to know, you feel me? Who are these children, right? And it obviously, you know what it is, but who are these children? What happened to, what happened? Why did she have to be put in an orphanage? Why couldn't she be with any other family? Why was she abandoned? And the father, takes, responsibility, right? He ain't a bad person. He a little selfish for sure, but he's not a bad person. It's like your mother said, all right, we couldn't control you. As a kid, you was a little reckless. And Krystal doesn't remember this shit at all. Like, she don't remember any of it, right? It's news to her. So she started listing off shit that she remembers. It's like, what do you mean reckless? I was studying in my room. Y'all barely would even play with me. A whole bunch of examples that she had, And it was like, Krystal, we tried for you. We really did, but you weren't something we could control. A combination of both of our powers made your quirk, and it was, you used it a lot, and like I said, from what Krystal remembers, she's an only child, quote unquote the oldest, because of these new children that they have. And they also explained that after she left, they tried again and they had kids. And they start bringing up things about Krystal that she kind of remembers, but not a lot, right? Like things about her running around and using her quirks on different people in the house or people that she knew, and she kind of remember doing that. But she's also like, I was a kid. Like I had power. I was a child. I couldn't. Y'all was mad at me. Y'all abandoned me because I was using the power that I was born with. The combination of powers of both of you. And let me just get this out of the way, right? They don't have a hypnosis power, obviously, right? The father's quirk is by voice, right? Like if he speaks he can influence a person's actions off of what he says, right? It's like what would the quirk name be like? Maybe something called like suggestive reasoning. or something like that. I don't know, something like that. It's basically like, you know, those thoughts you get, like if you're driving and you see like a whole family of 5 or something. It's like, I could just floor this motherfucker right now, you know. Basically, you know, that's what he could do, right? If he and people could, and it's more effective for people to listen that way. Obviously, he doesn't have to do it to like such a violent degree or just off anything evil, but he could just implement those thoughts in people's heads, and they're more likely to do it if he does it like that way. The mother has, you know, like a it's a mind transferring kind of. If you look into her eyes, like you basically become a clone of her. You do what she does if you look into her eyes for like a set period of time. So the combination to that hypnosis, it became her entire being, basically. Either way, back to the story. Dad was like, I mean, you know, we loved you. We still do love you, but we lost everything with you. We had to make it back somehow. We tried again and we got a better result. You know, he didn't even think about saying better. Nick said better because their quirks aren't like hers, of course, right? Chris said better. And the father's like, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that they're better than you. I'm just saying, right? By this point, obviously, the kids are kind of understanding a little bit. This is their older sister in her group. That's what in their mind. Still very scared. They don't know what's going on, but they kind of putting it together a little bit. And Izuku looks over at her and is like, "Have you made a decision? Do you have everything you need?" Smiling. And Krystal looks at him with disdain. They got rid of her because she was being a child. And, you know, she says that out loud, like, I just can't believe I'm related to some people that would get rid of a child for being a child. And they can feel what's coming next, right? They can feel that they won't make it out alive at this moment. They won't make it out alive if they don't tell Krystal the truth. The mother comes out and she's like, Krystal, we had to leave you. We couldn't allow you to keep going the way you were going. That's why we made you hypnotize yourself. What? Everybody in the room, what? Father over here like, what? No, don't tell her that. Right? His mom was like, no, she needs to know. It wasn't even just you. We had many children, Krystal. But after we had you was hypnotizing the other kids. You turned them against us. You was hypnotizing the maids, the butlers. We didn't know how to control you. After you accidentally knocked yourself out and everybody else got released from your hypnosis, we sent all of the kids away. We couldn't control any of you. We knew that. We knew better. That's why we got rid of you. That's why we had to leave you. But we couldn't just send you out into the world the way you were. So we made you hypnotize yourself into being something that we wanted you to be. But the guilt took over. We couldn't take care of you like that. We knew it wasn't you for real. That's why we thought it would be better for you to live with a different family. We thought you would understand something that we couldn't teach you with the amount of wealth that we have. And you see how your father be acting. He's not very compassionate towards people that he doesn't know. And it's a flaw in our design, but you have to believe us, Krystal. You have to, you know. It's a huge lore drop on Krystal. She got other siblings that was with her. She's not the oldest that she thought, right? And the reveal, you know, it breaks the illusion that she had in her mind. And she realizes all of the truth. She realizes that what they're saying is true. And she realizes like, oh, wow. Like this made sense. and the real her comes back, they buried her in her own quirk. Is how she's taking it, especially because of all the people that she's surrounded with. Like, you know, the 5 people you surround yourself with becomes who you are, kind of. She's around a lot more than 5, so she's adopted a lot of their personality and mixed in with her old or her original personality of just being a really controlling person, you know, or just thinking she can get her own way. Cause she was, you know, she wasn't the youngest, but she was one like a middle child of sorts, whatever. Just thinking she can get her way when, you know, when she wanted to, right? Just kind of selfish in her own regards of life. And then realizing how selfish she was back then. It's like the 2 personalities are colliding and changing into a new version of her. One that kind of seeks out justice, but also one that isn't convinced that people can be just by themselves. Something similar to that. As, you know, she grips her head, she's like really trying to come into the thoughts of being a new creation just off rip like that, right? And, you know, Izuku worried, you know, Kai worried, everybody in the room kind of worried, right? Even the kids is looking at her like, dang, what's going on with Big Sis? You feel me? Like, it's getting crazy. She then starts to speak, you know, cutting her mother off. She says, "You lousy parents chose to lie about my origins and about where I came from instead of parent me to be better. You thought that it would be the right choice to put me in an orphanage instead of try to raise me to be better." And obviously the parents, it's like, we couldn't, the excuses, right? They got excuses out the wazoo, but she ain't falling for it. She ain't going for it. And she's like, where are my other siblings? And it's like, I don't know. At this point, they could still be in the orphanage we left them in. They could be with their parents. We never checked. It's like, you worthless fucks. There's no way you put all of your children up for adoption off of one failed parent attempt. And then what? You decided to have 2 more? Wipe the slate clean and try again, huh? You've always been good at that. You know, tears falling from her eyes and then anger just flashing in her voice. It's really just a mixture of emotions. She's really trying to come to terms with her new self. And the parents, they making more excuses about being parents. Like, yeah, we were young. We didn't know, we didn't understand. It's like, we made a mistake. We're sorry. We'll do better. We'll go get our kids back somehow. You know, you can join our family. We can be a family again. You know, and she's just looking at him still, but it's not even discussed. It's like a sympathetic anger. Like, I really loved you at one point. I wanted to be needed by you at one point. But I don't feel that way anymore. Right? She doesn't say this, but this is how she's thinking. And as these thoughts are coming into her mind, Izuku hands her the gun. Just lays it out, like, you know, got his hand on the top of it, right? And Krystal look at Izuku in the eyes, and Izuku takes the goggles off her, just so she can know that he don't give a fuck about none of that. You feel me? Just so that she can know that whether it's hypnosis, whether it's goddamn these parents, burn the kids, whatever you want right now, we can go get that shit right now. You feel me? That's just to let her know without saying all that though, right? And he says, "Don't miss this time." And that's all she wrote, man. Time to shift perspectives, right? Daytime, we with Bakugo Katsuki. You know, come on now. The new main character of the show. You know, he's just the new main character of the show. That's just really what it is at the end of the day. You know, he get to he gotta get up, right? He brush his teeth and shit. He he don't even really speak to his parents, but he does hear his parents talking as he eating breakfast. They watching TV, and the news come on. It's about a whole lot. It's like the news come on. It's talking about violence happening at somebody's house or something like that. 'Cause, Baku ain't listening for real, and it's like a whole bunch of heroes was injured, and they had no captures, and it seems like there's a group going they going around wearing the same outfit or something. It seems like they're a group, and they going around just on violent timing, right? They're menaces. If you have any information, come reach out to the police, right? Seems like a couple of them have teleporting quirks, or there's other quirks. There was a whole blackout in the city at one point, which is another reason why the heroes didn't catch them. Just a lot, right? And Bakugo hearing some of this, he's like, "Yeah, I'm villains." When he become the number one hero for Izuku, he gonna make sure that nobody is even confident enough to be a villain no more. And yeah, he can tell you about his day, right? His parents, they kind of want to reconnect with their kid, but they don't know how. This is a new Bakugo. He just mentally not the same as he was before, right? And he gets to class and all that, right? He everybody there, he talking to the he ain't really talking. Ochako is talking to him though, because. And although I don't ship these two together personally, I think obviously she should have went with the main character, because that was what they showed off in the very start of the whole series. But that's a personal thing, right? What happens next in they doing the tournament, right? Well, not the tournament, but the hero villain thing, right? So All Might comes in. Nobody expected this, of course, right? Everybody's excited. They all, just happy about the situation, right? And he happy that All Might's here. You feel me? He don't know what All Might doing here, but he might get All Might to sign that card for him eventually. So Bakugo, right? He go change. He changed into the new fit, right? His original hero fit, and everybody else doing the same. Dakota, he got it'd be kind of like Monama's, right? Like Monama's quirk, or his Monama's costume. Like a suit and tie or whatever, right? Not a suit and tie, suit. And just over time, obviously, it's gonna grow more and more and become an actual hero outfit. But he got the mask going on, right, covering the bottom half of his face. It's a black suit. That's like, it's got some armor kind of just built into it or whatever, right? That's a Dakota fit, right? Bakugo, he ain't worried about that. You feel me? They get out there on the field. Obviously, All Might is All Mighting on that. You feel me? He looking for a successor at the end of the day, and this is primary activities to find himself one. We gotta, everybody about to go out here and start fighting. They about to make sure that your property damage is low. Make sure that you get to the bomb in time. Villains need to make sure that they secure the bomb on types of timing. Zuku, not Zuku. What the fuck? Anyway, everybody picking out orbs and stuff, trying to get on teams. Bakugo in this what if ends up teaming with Dakota. They are both villains in this context. They going up against Uraraka and Ida, because I said so. This is the only fight that I'm going over, all right? Because all the other fights go exactly how they went in canon. If you haven't watched the show, go watch the show. That's just really what it is, right? But yeah, Bakugo, he look over
at Dakota while they already in position and stuff. And he was like, man, you don't look prepared to be out here fighting. And Dakota out here like, man, it's like, man, I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head trying to figure out what my outfit would look like. So I'll add stuff along as time continues, but I mean, this is what I got for now, and I think it's good enough to at the very least beat these guys. And Bakugo, he respected. At the end of the day, he can't be mad at somebody that's confident at their quirk. Obviously, you know, he wanna make sure that he ain't with nobody that's gonna hold him back or anything, because he trying to show out right now. All might hear, whole bunch of reasons to show out. But yeah, he on his regular Bakugo stuff, kinda. Where it's like, I'm about to go, I'm about to go handle the heroes, quote unquote. About to go handle them, and you stay here and take care of the bomb, basically. And because like, bro, you don't need no backup. We could, you feel me? We could go out there together and put them both down easily. Bakugo don't know what Dakota's quirk is, to be 100, but from what he understands, he knows he can go out there and put them both down easy. But he don't know if because Ida fast and Uraraka got float ability as far as he understands. So I mean, it is a possibility that they just run past him. He'll chase him down, of course, but it's still a possibility. You feel me? So, nah, he like, yeah, nah, just stay here and watch the bomb, bro. I'll be back. And he explode off, right? So yeah, Bakugo, he exploding down the hallway. Really, he ain't trying to give his position away. So he walking, he looking for him, right? He peeking through the corners and stuff, right? You finally see him, hit him with that surprise attack from the side, trying to explode Ida, because they weren't as prepared to be dealing with Bakugo out in the field. Yeah, but he jumped over there and he explode. He tried to explode Ida, right? Ida, he got hit a little bit. He got armor though, so he can take some of that. And Ida on some like, villain, you aren't supposed to be out here this early. What do you think you're doing, sneak attacking people? Fuck, what the hell? What do you think you're doing, sneak attacking people? Bakugo really ain't got no words for him. It's like, shut up. We got a goal too. So I'm taking you down. The both of you, He tried to like turn around and, swing on Uraraka, right? Because, that was the plan, right? Obviously, Ida, he hit the reciprocal burst. He got Uraraka out of there quick. And, they dodged the explosion. Ida's like, you would then attack a defenseless girl? You really are a vile villain. And Bakugo's like, bro, you talk too much. In a fight, anybody that's not on your side is against you, and everybody has potential. He getting his regular pose and shit, with the crouch down kind of close to the ground with the explosions popping in his hands. So he like, don't villainize me just because I'm treating her like an equal. You feel me? Which is respectable, at least in my opinion. Ida, shaping some mentality from Ida. Like he didn't even think about that. Dang, is he treating her like equal? Probably not. We'll get to that later though. My boy Dakota hop out from the side, another sneak attack. Side dome kick to Ida head top. If you thought Dakota was about to wait in the room, come on now, my boy Bakugo need a rival somewhere. You feel me? My boy Bakugo ain't doing his best if he ain't got no rival, and I know he probably don't deserve this respect, but for the time being, he's the main character of the show so far. But yeah, Bakugo looking around like, didn't I tell you to stay with the bomb? And Dakota was like, if you thought I was about to let you up show me and just do all the work, you out your fucking mind. You feel me? So they posted together, right? Obviously, they both wanna show off some All Might and shit, right? Obviously, All Might looking at him like, okay, they got some potential, especially that blonde hair kid. You feel me? Bakugo, of course. Ida, right? The smartest thing Ida could think of doing is running away. I mean, like, obviously he could fight here, right? But he just ain't mentally. In his mind, he's thinking like he gonna have to fight and protect Uraraka, and they gonna lose. That's how he's thinking in his mind. It's not, he not seeing all the pieces of the puzzle like it was like Izuku would. That's because Ida isn't Izuku, but that's besides the point. Uraraka ready to fight. If I'm being like she about to stand up, she about to try to touch somebody. As soon as she stand up, Ida grab her, and they start running off. Cause it's low key, it's low key a smart play because all they gotta do is touch the bomb and they win, right? One of them gotta touch the bomb, so all they gotta do is find the bomb, right? Uraraka obviously arguing with Ida because this is they did not come up with no plans. They ain't got none of that. They ain't got no chemistry going on. It's really just looking bad for the both of them right now, right? Obviously, Bakugo watching them run off into the dark hallway, into the darkness, and they call like, "Hey, we going after him." As he about to, start taking off too. He's like, "Bro, are you stupid? He's got a speed quirk. You ain't catching up like that." He was like, "Man, don't tell me what I can't do." And he's like, "What you say?" It's like, "Man, you ain't catching up to him. I'm telling you, you're not gonna catch up." He's like, "I caught up to you, didn't I?" You feel me? They beefing kinda, but it's on some rivalry. You feel me? It's on some you gonna give me my respect. You feel me? Besides the point. It was like, oh, so you think you can just do anything and you just catch up to anybody just because you caught up to me on some fluke shit. And he was like, that's the quirk. Whatever I need to do, it's gonna get done. This is the first time Bakugo done heard anything about his quirk for us. So he's like, what? Can you explain your quirk again? And he's like, look, the more I do stuff, the easier I can do stuff later, right? Like the running thing, right? I've ran before, so it's stacked with all the other times that I've ran, and it gave me some strength to run, a little bit faster, basically. And Bakugo thinking about it, he's like, this shit must apply to like damn near everything. And he's like, hey, could you tell me where they at? And he's like, I mean, I guess, he trying to, sit down, close his eyes. He trying to hear, he trying to listen. Added with the quirk boost, he can he listening. He started guiding with his hand. He's like, yeah, they over here, right? In this direction, they moving kind of fast down this hallway right here, right? Because he locked on them. Bakugo then aims his gauntlet, which is it's ready to explode. Basically, it's got a massive amount of sweat in there. He basically just allowing Dakota to aim for him, and Dakota don't fully know what the fuck going on, but you also willing to find out. You don't know what's going on, right? So they aiming. All Might see it. He like, wait, you can't, don't look. Obviously you can't murder nobody on the test, and he say that shit out loud, right? And Bakugo's like, he say it's canonical shit. He like, it's not murder if I don't hit him. You feel me? Explode. He pulled a pin on their ass. Explosions, bro. It cut off Ida before he took that next step, right? It's mass explosions. They was almost at the bomb. It was a decent plan. It wasn't a good enough plan. They run down on him, right? Cause they run down on Ida too. Like Ida done slowed down, right? He tried to slow down when he seen the goddamn explosion. He done tripped after the explosion. He done fell into you feel me, to one of the rooms that's under it. It's just a bad day for Ida right now. Bakugo and Dakota, they done jumped over there, using their quirks and stuff, explosions. He just jumping on some parkour stuff. Kind of did it before, so it's imbued into him. He can stack it, get a little bit more of a boost when he using his powers. And they jump down on them, right? They catch them both lacking because nobody was prepared for this. The only person that Baku would go for Uraraka first because he feel like Dakota can handle Ida, right? And if Baku will get touched by zero gravity, it's not going to affect him as much as it's going to affect Dakota. He charged after Uraraka. Uraraka fuck. She trying to touch him, weave, wrapped around the backside, right? Grabbed her own, little bracelet shit that she's supposed to be using to, tie up the villains. Put it on her. You captured. Over with. He done stood up. He was in a different room entirely, but Dakota pop up on him from behind, out the shadows. Either try to swift kick on him to the head. He done ducked it. Either try to like spin with the kick, come back with the second kick, right? Nah, bro, he done weaved that shit too. He jumped up, grabbed him by the helmet, flipped over him, slammed onto the floor, bro. It was Bakugo came over after because it didn't take him a long time to deal with Uraraka, and he done, he got the tape or whatever they was using. They tied him up too. Either wasn't getting past two people. You feel me? I don't even think they would have needed to tie him up. It would have been raps. You feel me? It would have been raps. They win, obviously. Dakota, Bakugo, they win. They win. They fight, man. They win. They in the little hero villain fight. Turn whatever. You feel me? I need to do a little bit better, bro. I swear I need to do better. Anyway, they go back to the class. You feel me? They go back to the class, and everybody talking about Bakugo being all aggressive and stuff, and this, that, and the third, and all the property damage. And the property damage is the real problem, right? Obviously, if this was a real situation, somebody got to pay for that shit. But it's like, man, I did my job, man. I was supposed to. Dakota obviously didn't know that's what the fuck was gonna happen, but I mean, he adapted to the situation well, so points on that boy, right? They also, they talking down on Ida and Uraraka teamwork, right? Like Ida wasn't giving Uraraka enough say so in the team. He was leading when he could have been listening and leading. You feel me? He could have been leading while listening, but he wasn't listening. He was just leading, and he led him into failure. So, it's a life lesson for my boy Ida. He gotta learn. He gotta learn that it's not just you on this field. It's teamwork. That's the dream work. But Bakugo was talking to a whole bunch of different people. Even Uraraka was respecting what the mentality that Bakugo was going on about it, right? Because of they asked him why he went after Uraraka at first, and it was like, he explained his reasoning. If Dakota got touched by Uraraka, it would have been way more of a problem than if he got touched by Uraraka because of his explosions and how that propels him forward anyway. So he went after the one that would cause his team less harm. You feel me? That's just what it was, right? That's what it was, right? They just some of the better. They were just the better team at the end of the day. But yeah, everybody else get their turn, right? Denki, Jiro, the fights went to canon is what I'm saying. Fights went to canon, man. Everybody going home and stuff. Everybody go home. Dakota and Bakugo, right? Obviously Dakota, he ain't really from here for real. But he looking for friends and shit. So, he's like, hey, let me get your line. You feel me? Bakugo, like, obviously he was on some, some motherfucker over here asking for my line and shit, But at the end of the day, after bugging him up about it a little bit, he got his line. You feel me? Things is looking up enough for the boy. Bakugo, that's the person we're all rooting for, right? Right? That's the hero in this. Anyway. Anyway, that's pretty much where I'm gonna end it for real. What else I gotta talk about? I'm thinking about it. I did the hero villain thing. My boy Bakugo, he go home. He's talking to his parents a little bit. He had a good day today. He met the homie. Dakota might be a new homie for him. A close friend maybe. A partner. Anyway. But yeah, he kind of excited about how the school year gonna go, and he really excited about how he gonna continue to grow through the situation, right? Obviously, All Might looked at everybody and they quirks and stuff. He looking around, and he just like, yes, there's some potential here, but there's still some things that he needs to make sure of, right? Mentally, right? You got to make sure mentally. There's some things to make sure before he make any decisions. You feel me? He gonna take this a little bit slower because there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of great quirks, but is the people great? That's the question. You feel me? That's what he's thinking about, of course.
Let's get back to Izuku for the one time. You know, our boy, right? He in his room, and he, cataloging the events of the day. He done thought about everything that done happened. He's fully processed it, and it's late at this point in time. It's been, the time skip, kind of whatever, right? Damn near midnight at this point in time. He in his room. Only other individual in his room right now is Soga. She sleep already. He get out of bed. He leave. And he just walking around. Just seeing the differences in his life at the moment, right? Like he didn't think he would have any of this. He didn't think he'd be doing any of this, but such is life. Sometimes you gotta do what you think you ain't gonna do, or something like that. You know, such is life for real. Life is gonna give you them curveballs. You gotta roll with the punches. You gotta see what's gonna happen next. He gotta see what's gonna happen next. He got plans still. He can't give up. Putting that on hold though, he think he hear the door to the roof opening, right? Because they got stairs up there. It's mad quiet, so he think he hears something. He feel like it's coming for the roof. He go up to the roof, right? You know, open the door. He see Krystal up there. This is the same spot where Izuku told them, his past and all that. But besides the point. Krystal over there, she leaning up against the rails, looking out over the city on some ore farming techniques. My boy Piccolo. No, I'm joking. Either way, Zuku walk over there, and Krystal over there playing with a lighter. That's just what's happening, right? She playing with it. She ain't got nothing to smoke or nothing. She just flicking it on and turning it off. Just sparking that boy, right? Izuku walk up on her, right? She kind of jump a little bit, mad in her head. She was thinking loudly thinking in her head because she did not recognize nobody popping up. Then again, Izuku does sneak around the whole little spot, kind of. He getting better at it every day, basically, right? Just being more sneaky without even meaning to. Besides the point, though, he pop over on Krystal, like, you think about what happened, and Krystal, she, obviously she looked at him, then she looked off, she like, man, it just don't feel real right now. And Zuko was like, yeah, I know the feeling. We got out of there, man. I mean, it was a ride. And at this point, it's time for me to tell you exactly what happened. All right, I had y'all waiting since the start of the episode. This is the time for me to tell y'all exactly what happened at Krystal's house. So basically, let's flashback real quick, right? My boy Zuko told him, "Don't miss this time." She pulled out, she grabbed the gun, aimed, fire. You feel me? On the both of them. They dead. That's just what happened to them. You feel me? They turn over to the kids, obviously. Zuko look at Krystal and look back at the kids like, what's going on? Krystal, she kneeled down and she says, I know y'all two must be very scared right now. And obviously they're very scared. To 1+1 = 2, my nigga. Come on now. What's going on? But Krystal make sure that she don't, she trying to like earn their trust a little bit, you feel me? And she like, I don't know how to, I don't even know how to do this, but if
if you'll allow me, I I want to try to protect you too, you know. And they look at her because from what they understand right now, shit is not sweet. It's not sweet at all. But you know, and she not looking at him, but she also ain't got the goggles or nothing on right now. So it's like, they kind of like connecting the dots a little bit based off the information they had previously. How old did I say they were? They about like what, 11 to 10 years old or whatever, 9 to 11 years old basically. But they looking at her and they like, man, like she did just kill their parents. It's not looking good for them. But they also seeing like the real empathy that she got for seemingly her family, possibly, right? So the sister reach out to her and it's like, big sis Krystal. And she hug her sister. The brother get over there, he getting hugs. It's a family reunion. Who we introduced. Anyway, she hug them both. And Izuku, he nod. You feel me? He look at the instant teleporting brother, not the portal one, right? The instant one who was holding one of the kids, right? He look at him and tell him take him back to the house, right? Take him back to the orphanage. Obviously, he like, all right, bet. He grab him. They go to the orphanage, right? Obviously they was kind of like a little scared, but she was like, hey, just trust me, okay? And they got sent to the orphanage. Now, like I said before in the very start of this, there was a lot of patrols happening by the heroes. And now just hearing the gunshots that went off, they about to come over here and investigate a little bit. Now, from the hero's perspective, they looking at the house. It looked weird, kinda, but not out of the ordinary. They feel like, right? It's a regular house. The only weird thing about it is that the lights are on and the front door is open, and from a distance, of course, because this is a house like on a hill, kind of, right? It's like some property. But either way, he don't. This is Kamui Woods too. He popped over here. He just like, all right, let me just do a check in real quick. If it's bad, hopefully he'll be able to handle it. If it's not, then he ain't got to worry about it right now. He can get back to the patrol. So, he start walking up. As he's getting up there, Zuku walk out. He got the mask and everything on because he already knew. He knew somebody was popping up, right? He figured that there would be somebody there. And he told him to come up. He pop over there. Front door. He got the mask on. Kamui obviously see him with the mask, and he know the description of these individuals. So he's like, "Who are you?" And Zuko, he like, "We are the Dark Emperors, and you can call us Izuku Midoriya." And when he says that, a couple of different individuals start busting out the windows. Right, they was already busted into, which Kamui realized as he got closer to the door. But they start jumping out the windows. Right, they trying to grab him and all this other stuff. Use their quirks. Right, whole time they didn't know Kamui had the backup. Right, Mount Lady, the here. I'm gonna put his picture up on the screen because I really don't know his name. Knuckle Duster, is that his name? No, I think that's the dude from Vigilantes. I haven't seen it. Besides the point, was it Death Knuckles? Whatever this dude on the screen name is, all right, him. He's there. The ninja dude is there. Best Genius there. Back with Fat Gum, he there. Miss Joke there. Fucking because Miss Joke had to get her run back from the last time. You feel me? Endeavor's not there this time. He had things he had to do. He didn't know about this operation like that. Right? Night Eye there. You feel me? He heard about it. He figured, he wanted to supply some situations. There's a new group going on. They not hiding in the shadows. He feel like they sloppy. He better try to take them out. Right? That's the plan. That's what he's thinking. And a whole bunch of sidekicks, right? A whole bunch of sidekicks there. Agencies. You feel me? They just there. You know, everybody that was running out the windows, they stopped instantaneously, and the heroes, they standing out, oppositional, and they like, surrender now, and you might get a reduced sentence. You feel me? That's what they thinking, right? That's what they, because they don't know, they don't know what's going on for real, but they whatever's gonna get these individuals to surrender quickly. Izuku, he put his hands up, and as he does that, Amelia, she put her hand, she's still in the house, but she was looking at him through the house, right? She set up traps and shit throughout the whole land. You feel me? Even the hill they own got a little bit bigger because of the amount of traps that was in the land. So as the heroes try to take steps forward, explosions here, explosions there. She got her hands on the ground just to control who getting hit with the traps. And when the explosions happen, everybody start rushing out even faster. The heroes at a disadvantage because they turned the area into a minefield that only affected the heroes. As the chaos is taking place out there, we got Fat Gun out there. He hitting people left and right, but he also getting grabbed up. We got Mountain Lady. She the biggest one, but she ain't trying to kill nobody. You feel me? So she kind of just, stomping on the ground. She getting hit with the mudslides, the pitfalls too. It's not looking good for her. She getting messed up by the traps, specifically by Amelia. Madison out there, she had a whole bunch of, there was a whole bunch of furniture in there. She turning everything into, living weapons. They getting sent out there. They striking. You feel me? They knocking individuals off, right? Not I finally end up grabbing somebody, and he able to read their future, kinda, and he realizes this individual gets away. You feel me? Like this individual he don't know where they at, kinda. From what he's seen, obviously he was mainly trying to pay attention to what's gonna happen next to him through this individual, but he also was trying to get information from where this individual is gonna go. He can't find out where they're gonna go. He don't know, right? He just know that the next place this individual is going is in a house somewhere, in his room somewhere. You feel me? But yeah, they start overwhelming Night Eye. Night Eye got the stamps, so they get knocked back. But it's a lot of them out there, right? All of a sudden, they see a portal kind of open up above the house. Even more people are showing up. Everybody that was working for Izuku had already been there, which means this is for everybody else that's at the orphanage that wasn't necessarily working for Izuku until right now. They finally got the courage. They got the balls. They said, I ain't trying to have my homies in the prison. Who gonna take care of us if my homies in the prison? So they had to jump out in the suits. They had their own suits already. They had to jump out of the portal. Because, that's what Izuku told the portal dude to do. He said, hey, go tell him this. Go tell him what's happening. Go get him. They start overwhelming the heroes. Kai out there, he wanted to try a little bit something new. He trying to rotate the wind extremely fast, but in a small area. He can only control it when it's in his hands, though. He trying to like really focus and concentrate on it while he dodging the attacks in the middle of the field. Because my boy Kai really liked that for real. When he finally like get done, kinda, because he don't know if he done for real. he sees a hero pulling up. He try to, reflectively, not reflectively, reflexively pushes his hand out. Motherfucker got hit with all that wind pressure, knocked him 17 feet back. He took out 3 other heroes. He said, "Oh, I'm gonna name that one. I'm gonna name that move. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm gonna continue, man. Just remember, we don't know who Kai is technically." But yeah, as this is happening, Izuku is also, getting everybody out of the house. If if you're getting hurt after, a while being there, Amelia got you, right? She gonna, phase you underground. There's a way to get into the house from the underground area that she phases you into. And when you underground, he got the portal person there. They sending everybody back through the portal from the inside. The heroes, they can't get there. They just can't. Right? Midnight finally getting useful again. You feel me? She done hopped up. She said, "Screw it. I'm gonna try to get to the house." Open up, it took her everything. It literally took her everything to get that to the house. And that's when she seen that whoever was running this motherfucker had excellent planning. Excellent planning. Amelia was not trying to get her there, but she a hero. When you a hero and you in a desperate situation, you gonna fight through tooth and nail to get to the objective. You feel me? She was phased into the ground holding on to the roof. And she pulled the roof off. And she seen a little bit. You feel me? Because the ceiling was caving in around with Izuku, but that's besides the point. Izuku look up, he see her. He like, all right, it's time to get up out of here. Send everybody back. And that's what Amelia started doing. You feel me? She like, all right, bet. Everybody getting phased into the ground whether they was hurt or not. You feel me? They was like, oh shit. It's obviously just holes popping up into the ground and they sliding down the holes into tubes, but that's besides the point. They climbing up, they going through the portal. Midnight. I mean, not midnight. Mount Lady was obviously on some like, as a hero, I gotta at least grab one of them so I can get the information. So she tried to reach her hand in. Izuku, he looked back at Mount Lady. He looked back at the portal. He's like, and somebody handle her. Both Amelia and Madison. That's her name. What the fuck did I say? Addison. Anyway, both Amelia and Madison. Madison got the couch flying towards her. You feel me? Face hit the whole couch. Amelia got a fist coming up from the ground outside. Hit her in the guts. It was enough time to get everybody out of there, right? Even though the heroes was running up, Amelia still had her hands on the ground. There was a couple different more mines and explosions going around. But they got back up there. They made it to the door. It's like 3 people left there. You feel me? Wasn't nobody gonna be able to, nobody was gonna be able to get there, basically. You feel me? No, nobody was gonna be able to get to stop these individuals from getting to getting through the portal, really. Zuku, he turned around, Mega stand up, she get straight through the portal. Madison sticking around kinda. And Zuku's like, see y'all, heroes, and they go through the portal. Obviously the heroes try to stop them. They just too close, honestly. And the portal closed. Now, the only person that can't go through the portal is the person that made the portal, which is, the teleporting brother's twin, which is why he has a twin. The twin popped back up, instantly because he don't need to use portals, and then teleported them both back home. They're perfectly fine, right? Everybody is fine. And it went according to plan. Fast forward a little bit, right? We back out here with Izuku and Krystal, who are talking about it, right? Obviously, she out there, she thinking about, what her parents said and everything about her memories and all that. And, Zuku's like, it's like, it was crazy. It was crazy. I almost didn't know if we would make it out. I was kind of surprised that it went as good as it did, but I think I think that's a show of how much effort y'all been putting into actually getting better with the training or with your quirk, whatever. And Krystal, she kind of laughing. But, her whole situation has changed, kind of. But she's like, "Hey, Izuku," and Izuku's like, "Yeah." It's like, I know we don't go around saving just anybody or at all because we're villains or whatever, but do you think we could help find the rest of my family? And Zuku, he look over at her. He's like, if that's what you want to do, we can bring your whole family here. I don't mind. And she happier, right? She obviously still gotta find them. She don't know what's going on with that, but you know. And she's still kind of modest, so she ain't trying to like take up. She ain't trying to make this all about her. If there's other things to do, then they'll go do those other things. You feel me? But she miss her family. She miss her brothers, her sisters. You feel me? She got two new siblings, right? They gotta meet them. And yeah, man. That's the end of Crystal's arc, kinda. Cause she still got things to do, but she at the moment, she done did a lot. So that's the end of her arc for now. And appreciate y'all for watching, man. I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you for everything, God. And yeah, man. That's pretty much it. That's just what happened. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. You know. It's all thanks to God, of course. Thank you, God, for giving me the ability to do this, allowing me to continue to do this, and everything that you've allowed me to be and achieve, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Bye.